come Joe Pesci with the bars. Callow, cocking with a hot pen. You can't kill it with this glove, it will not fit. Evidence will not stick. Rapping with a self-respecting southerner. So bro, what's in your pot? Those are not grits. Spit bars, I stand behind mine. Yeah, sentences I serve, maximize guidelines. My lawyer can't give me his advice when he speaks that I murder carry mandatory minimums of life. Yikes. In case you didn't get the point, we spit bars.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of The Maximum Sentence, where there's conviction behind the bars. I'm your man, AJ Throwback. Great to be here with y'all. This. It's fine on Instagram. I know y'all can hear me. Shout out to my sis, Lady Crawley, on the check-in. Hold on for whatever. And it decided it did not want to connect. Here we go. Okay. Little technical difficulties. I feel like it's like the residuals of retrograde happen. You know what I mean? So appreciate everybody for tapping in. Appreciate you so much always, sister. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that y'all please share the live, spread the word. Once again, getting into the third verse of Nowhere from my EP The Late Bloomer 2, which is out on all platforms except Spotify. You can go everywhere to get it. You can go to my website, bammllc.net/music, or you can go to my Bandcamp page, which is ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. If you go to my AJ Throwback Bandcamp page, you can get 4 bonus tracks that you're not going to get anywhere else. So if you like more, you can buy it. But you can't get those 4 tracks if you just stream it on Bandcamp. I mean, you can listen to the standard EP on Bandcamp, but if you want more, buy it. You know, so I definitely appreciate the love and support. And my man Illville, the producer, on the check-in. I see Loyal Life Stress on the check-in. Appreciate you for tapping in, family. You know what I mean? And definitely Chris Smear, check it out. I'm not gonna call you by your government name. I know how people are sensitive about that online, so I definitely appreciate the love and support. You know what I mean? So so we're gonna get into breaking down the third verse momentarily, but I want to make sure that I show some love to some folks. Actually, I'm going to wait, because one of the questions, I want to wait until the person is in the building. Anonymous Touch, she had a question. I want to make sure that she's actually on the live to be able to hear it. So definitely want to make sure that but in the meantime, I can read some comments from some folks before I get into getting into this. Hold on. Do I even have... Okay. See? And why this thing should keep muting, unmuting, all of this nonsense. You know what I mean? So bear with me 1 second, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Oh shoot, I want one too. You know, I want a bigger beard. You know, I want my joint to be like bushy. You know what I mean? So
Shout out to Miss Rose on the check. I appreciate you for tuning in, Queen. And Anonymous Touch, it's like you knew I was talking you up, and boom, right in the building. So right on time. Let me make sure everything is working properly the way that it should on these other ends. For whatever,
it does not want to put on this end for Facebook and YouTube crowd, but Instagram can hear me just fine. You know what I mean? Yes, the goddess has arrived. I appreciate you for tapping in. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these comments since you are here, but I want to make sure that I go in order, of course. Let me make sure I got the right order. Let's see. Yeah, so we start off with a comment from my sis, Dr. Yolanda D. Barber on Instagram. She says, now this is in response to the broadcast itself. She says, I also have to say how much I love the relationship you have with your son. He loves spending time with you, and you make time to include him in your lives. He'll always remember this. And that's in response to the fact that my son, he was in on the last broadcast. You know, he was meandering about in the background. Anybody who's watched watched it live, or you watched the replay or whatever, he's just involved. And I try to make sure that he's involved whenever he's actually awake. I usually do this after he goes to sleep. But, I'm saying last Sunday, because he was off Monday for Rosh Hashanah, he was able to stay up with me. So, whenever he's able to stay up, I always try to make him feel a part of everything. But the only thing about it is my man want to be the star of the show. That's that Leo energy, you know what I'm saying? Like he got to be the star. Like no matter how much attention he already get, he want all of it. He want even more, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. I always try to make sure that he's a part of whatever I got going on. So salute to my man, you know what I'm saying? He down for the count. I'm getting ready for school tomorrow. So it is that. The next comment comes from, so I have a comment and a question from Anonymous Touch. So she says, I love the transitions through the episodes, truly giving us a clear vision of your creation and who you are. I'm finally grateful I can tap in and watch, but I need to catch it live, which you're able to do today because you're doing it on Instagram live today. So I appreciate you for joining in live, and more people are coming in on the live. Shout out to my sis, Lady Ace, on the check-in on Instagram. Appreciate you for tapping in. And I'm also going to read Anonymous Touch's question. This is a response to season 1, episode 29 of The Maximum Sentence, where I talk about the song No, where I talk about the second verse. So she says, I wanted to ask, do you must be in church to practice faith or to be faithful? Now, thank you, Lady Ace. Appreciate you so much. She said, happy birthday, AJ. I don't know the exact day, but I don't want to miss it. Well, it was actually on the 28th, but hey, better late than never. You know what I mean? So I take birthday wishes all during Libra season. You know what I mean? Fellow Libra, Lady Ace, her birthday coming up. Actually, she got a project coming out. She got 2 projects coming out, y'all. So definitely tap in with Lady Ace. Appreciate the birthday love and support. But to Anonymous Touch's question, I wanted to ask, do you must be in church to practice faith or to be faithful? And I thought about this before I actually went live. And to me, it's all good, Queen. Don't worry about it. To me, I don't feel like you necessarily have, like it's a part of it. Let me put it like that. I feel like going to church is a part of your faith walk. There are so many different components to it that it's not just limited to church. Just like it's not just limited to prayer. It's not just limited to reading the word. It's not just limited to a lot of different things that people will say, oh, well, this is the sum and substance of your faith. No, all of it is a part of your faith. Really the benefit of church, and I think a lot of times when people think church, they think the building. And it's really more so about the people. It's more so about the fellowship than it's about just the building itself. 2 or more people can come together and congregate and really praise God and really break down word and do a whole lot of different things, and you've basically just had church. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be this big production or any of that. You know what I mean? In order for it to be church. That's first and foremost. Second of all, I do think that it helps in your faith, because none of us were meant to do anything on our own. Not one thing on this earth can we do on our own. Try it and see how quickly you fail at it. You know what I'm saying? Every single thing that you want to do in your life. Now, you can do a lot of things and be self-sufficient. There's a difference between being self-sufficient and just doing it completely on your own. And I feel like your faith walk should not be done completely on your own, because there are going to be people who are going to know more, or they're going to be deeper in their faith, that are going to be able to teach you certain things or help you to understand certain things that you may not be able to understand on your own, or vice versa. You may be further along in your faith walk than somebody else, and you're able to help somebody else along in their faith walk that might be newer in the faith than you are. So I feel like it's one of those things where I don't know if I would say it's, well, yeah, I will say it kind of is a must, if I'm being honest. You know what I mean? I feel like you need that aspect of it, but it's not the sum and substance of your faith. Let me just put it like that. So I appreciate the response on that. Definitely appreciate the response to that, and I'm glad that I was able to answer your question. Shout out to Sip Slay on the check-in on Instagram. Appreciate you for tuning in. Yes, Libra Gang is representing heavily in this joint, you know what I mean? And shout out to my man K900 Supreme on the check-in on Instagram. Definitely appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. The way that I'm gonna do it this week, I'm gonna break up the lyrics. Instead of me trying to remember the lyrics, I'm just gonna play the lyrics one bit at a time, and I'm just gonna talk about those little parts. All right, I broke it down. That's the beauty of having the equipment right here. Boom. You know what I'm saying? I can just press a button and get to it. So let's go ahead and get into these lyrics right now.
4 years ago, was still a mannequin. The struggle abducted me from the Hanukkah. Had me spazzing the cars, crying and Manicat. Poor man's Vanica, reimagine the plans of God. I'm weary and wheezing, trying to abandon God. Hard to run for long when you fail to train for the marathon. Pushing positions, no why am I here, not over there? There's the phone of my prime, here's just so the head.
All right. So, yes, we love all the signs, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's Libra season right now, but we love all the signs, you know what I'm saying? Cancers, you know what I'm saying? My man K9, a Leo, just like my son, you know what I'm saying? We love all the signs. It's always love, you know? And shout out to IBN the Mill on the check-in. Appreciate you for tuning in, fam. So, those particular set of lines. 4 years ago was still a man of God. When I wrote this song, it was in 2017. So it's a reference to 4 years before that, when I was still at Washington Christian Center. I talked about that last week on episode 29 of the Maximum Sentence. So if you want to rewind, get a little reference point, definitely make sure that you go back and check out that episode. But I was still at Washington Christian Center at that time. But then I ended up leaving the church. You know, I've still believed in God, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't in church. But I felt a disconnect because I wasn't in church. And I think this will even more so answer the question for you, Anonymous Touch. In terms of, like, and I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else in terms of their walk. I can only speak to my walk and how it affected me. And not having that family, not being involved in that family, I feel like it really affected my faith, because I was a lot more stressed. I was a lot more of a complainer, if I'm being honest. A lot of things just really the wheels started coming off, so to say. And, you know, I went through some things, and I eventually, you know, got back in the church, or tried to get back in the church or whatever. But then I got back out of it again, and I became even more frustrated. I just felt like there was so many things that I wanted to happen in my life. I wanted music to happen in my life. I wanted, you know, I wanted a lot more peace in my home, and not realizing that I was the issue. I was the main issue for there being a lack of peace in my home, because of the things that I was doing in the darkness and the things that I was involved in. And I was getting fed up with work. I was getting fed up with a lot of different things, and there were literally nights, I'll never forget, there were nights I would go in, there's a CVS over in Calverton, Maryland, off of Powder Mill Road, anybody who knows about the area. And shout out to my sis, Essence on the check-in, appreciate you for tuning in, eclectic_E on Instagram. But yeah, I would literally go in this parking lot like late at night. It would be like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would go in this parking lot, like coming from work, and just tired from work, just tired from doing the same thing over and over and over again, feeling like it was like at that point like a dead-end job, or like just a mind-numbingly boring job. Now granted, I still don't love my job. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Eddie Deuce on the check-in on Instagram, appreciate you for tuning in. I still don't love my job. I like my job. I appreciate my job. I'm grateful for my job because it puts food on the table for my family. It makes sure that we are taken care of. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole thing, you know, God makes sure, you know, if God makes sure that the birds of the air and the fish of the sea are taken care of, then, you know, how much more won't he look out for someone made in his own image? You know what I mean? So, but it was hard to understand that at that particular time because it was how things looked like and how things felt like. And a lot of times we get so much in our feelings as humans that it gets in the way of how we really move through the world, because we're moving so much on feelings. And that's a dangerous place to be, because you start making decisions based on emotions instead of spiritual counsel, wise spiritual counsel, and
showing. Um, See, now everything wants to act squirrely. Everything. It's like it's not even reading. It's crazy, y'all. Like I'm telling you. Yeah, see, y'all can hear on my end. What I might have to do is on the end, what I might just have to do is because it's not reading. It's crazy. It's not even reading. So I have a USB mixer, and so it's not even reading the USB mixer on this end. I'm telling you, it's the matrix, it's the retrograde, something. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Like on Instagram it's like no problem whatsoever. So what I'm gonna do is y'all can hear me fine, but on YouTube and Facebook, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to say a lot of the lyrics like outright. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I can't really do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Anyway, so getting back to what I was saying, I'm trying to even remember what my train of thought was. I'm trying to remember what my train of thought was. But basically just dealing with a whole lot of different things at that particular time. So then getting to the part where I say, much voices at large, due diligence was near, following the voices of frauds, too vigilant to steal, panic and reclusive, telegraph and excusive, tough imagining passions get blasted in tragic shootings. So tough imagining passions get blasted in tragic shootings. That goes back to the whole thing of music. And, you know, like this whole thing, it ties in perfectly because talking about the late bloomer, thinking about the late bloomer, this is something that started back really in like 2013. And shout out to, I guess this is Jahazil Music. If I jack it up, I'm sorry. I apologize. You know what I'm saying? Please feel free to, lay out the pronunciation. I always like to get people's names right. We appreciate you for tuning in. But the late bloomer really started back in 2013, the path to getting to this point. So this project has basically been about 8-9 years in the making before it even came out. The project originally, I wanted it to come out in 2014, 2015, around that time. Shout out to Bellissima. I like that Instagram name on Instagram on the check-in. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wanted it to come out 2014, 2015. But I almost shelved the project altogether because I was in a different space personally, where I was like, do I even want to come out with this album anymore? A lot of people coming in. Appreciate everybody that's coming in. Ali, Eli, 007 on the check-in. Appreciate you for tuning in. But yeah, I almost shelved this all together. Like I almost did not come out with it. But then I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to still put it out because I feel like people need to hear these emotions. They need to connect with everything that I've got going on, these thoughts, because nobody gets to really hear my side. Like I produce for people. So I'm kind of the guy in the background. I'm on radio. So I'm the guy that's like showcasing other people. At that particular point, I wasn't in radio again, but eventually I get into radio. So I'm showcasing other people. It's very rare that I really get to shine my light. It's very rare that I get to like let my voice be heard. So that was a huge amount of the driving force to doing that. But because things weren't really coming together the way I wanted to, studio situations were kind of sort of shifty. So many different things were happening at that time that I was really getting frustrated and feeling like, well, maybe this just isn't meant for me. Maybe it's just not my time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I have all of these grandiose ideas in my head and maybe I just shouldn't do it. And a lot of different things were being said from different people that kind of sort of made me feel that way, was driving me further down the rabbit hole. And it was frustrating after a while, and it became a thing where I started not only getting mad at myself, mad at the world, but mad at God. And that's just being real. And shout out to my sis, Joyful Connections Life Coaching, on the check-in on Instagram. She said, well, let your light shine, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I also want to make sure that I get to some of the comments, because I know people have been commenting a lot, and I appreciate everybody for your comments, especially on Instagram. And also Illuminati _Loso on the check-in. Thank you so much for tuning in as well. But yeah, like it was just one of those things where I was just so frustrated and so angry and misdirecting my anger. Like, it wasn't God that I was mad at. It was just circumstances. It was just how things were playing out. But a lot of it, if I'm being real with myself, in hindsight, it was me not connecting with God. It was me not talking to God. It was me constantly saying, like, basically barking orders at God, or like asking for this and asking for that, but not really having a true connection. Not listening enough. It was a whole lot of me doing this, but not enough of doing this. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you saying it. She said, Joy said, no one can stop God's plan for you. No one can stop it. Absolutely. Including us. Because as many times as I wanted to give up, as many times as I wanted to stop doing music, I wanted to stop doing a lot of things. Heck, I wanted to quit my job. I wanted out of my marriage, being honest. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know whether or not me and my wife were going to make it, and that was on me. It was my doing why I felt that way. Being real with a lot of those things, it comes back to me. I was the issue, and I had to get myself in check. I had to look within myself and say, what am I doing wrong? I'm doing all this complaining. I'm doing all this, just kind of griping with God and like begging and pleading and this and that and the third. But what am I doing to make the situation better? What am I doing to actually have a real relationship? Because a lot of times we get caught in this holding pattern spiritually where we're constantly asking. But but we're not giving of ourselves, or we want to receive, but we're not giving of ourselves, and not just giving of ourselves to God, but giving of ourselves to other people. I feel like, honestly, when I gave more of myself to other people, when I gave more of myself to God, that's when I started seeing more blessings. When I stopped making it about myself, when I stopped making it about my frustration, that's when I started seeing more blessings. You know what I mean? And yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You definitely came to the right live. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for tapping in. And shout out to Noir B and also Miss Cleopatra Jones on the check-in. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Definitely spread the love, spread the live, all of that stuff. Joy says his will is always going to always prevail. He just needed you to check in with him so that he can order every step for you. That's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head, sis. That's it. It was all about the check-in. If you don't check in with God, if you don't make some sort of commitment to just depending on him, talking to him, knowing that that's where all of our blessings flow from, then it's always going to be a struggle. It goes back to what I said. No man is an island unto himself. We were not created to do things on our own. We were created for dependency. We don't like to admit it, but we were created for dependency. And also shout out to Lady C on the check-in. Appreciate you for tuning in, Queen. And Lil Tank Productions on the check-in on Instagram. Definitely appreciate the tune in and all the support. Yes, you are right on time for this. You know what I'm saying? Breaking down this third verse of Nowhere from the Late Bloomer 2 EP. I'm trying to think. So then we get to the lines, because I want to kind of move this thing ahead a little bit. So then we get to the lines where I say, Lizette drafted the blueprint. Young, sad, and the bluest can't even fathom which faction is actually grasping truth. Is it the Baptist, the Buddhist, Muslims, or Jewish? Could be Yoruba. Headaches from all of this knowledge I vomit could be medulla. Or maybe I'm complicating it purposely, because the fate you created, I face it nervously. So I want to address that part. Can't even fathom which faction is actually grasping truth. Because even being deep into Christianity, no matter how deep into Christianity I've been, I have always looked at it like, isn't it a bit arrogant? And some people may agree, some people may disagree, but you know, this is something that I still wrestle with to this day, that I feel like it's a bit arrogant for us as humans to ever say that the religion that we believe in is the one true religion. Because there are a lot of people who do not connect with Christianity. Just like there are a lot of people who do not connect with Islam. There are a lot of people who don't connect with Buddhism. There are a lot of people who don't connect with a lot of different religions or a lot of different ways of life. But I also believe it is about, what does this religion make you do as a person? What does it draw out of you spiritually? I feel like if it causes you to be a good person and acknowledge that there's a higher force than you at play, and that higher force works not only through you, but it works through other people in your life, or people who might not necessarily be an integral part of your life, but just other people, period, and moves toward good. Because I feel like good is a universally understood concept. And I think that's why, you know, that particular part, because I know so many people who believe so many different things. And I can see the truth in each of those things. I'm not one of those type of people who, you know, who's a Christian, be like, well, you know, if you don't believe in Christianity, you're going to hell and blah, blah, blah. I'm not that person. I'm the person that's like, I don't have a heaven to kick you out of or a hell to put you in. That is not my place. And that will never be my place. I will never be that person that's going to like shake my finger at somebody and say, because you don't believe what I believe, you're destined for, you know, all eternity in some lake of fire. You know what I'm saying? I personally don't move in that spirit. I don't move in that space. You know what I mean? And shout out to the Real Queen Goddess on the check-in on Instagram. Definitely appreciate you for tuning in. Let me read some of these comments before I move on a little bit. And Bellissima said, "Woo, God is really trying to get my attention. I'm glad I got called into this live. I appreciate that. That's what it's all about." Joyce is, people have to believe in with what works for them. I never denounce anyone's belief, not my place. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Judge, not lest you be judged. Exactly. You know, and a lot of people, shout out to Pluto Jr. 2021 on the check-in on Instagram. Definitely appreciate the love and support. The Real Queen Goddess says, "I like it here, nothing but gems." Thank you so much, Queen. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, but that's been my biggest thing. I always think about something that Muhammad Ali, he said in an interview, I want to say this is back in 1977, and I believe it's on YouTube, so if you've never seen the interview, definitely make sure that y'all go look it up. It's something that he did, I want to say, might have been like Manchester, somewhere in the UK, but he's doing this interview, and he's talking about how people call God all of these different things, and it's like, but if it's all leading to the same place, does it really matter what you call God? You know, like if everybody is in the direction of doing good, living the highest version of themselves possible, doing right by other people, isn't that the most important part? And I think that's where I sat for a very long time, and I still sit in that place. Despite being a Christian, I still sit in that place. I know plenty of people who, you know, they will go back and forth about like all of these different things in the Bible, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that there is no truth whatsoever in the Bible. There's plenty of truth in the Bible. You know what I mean? But I also am of the thought, and this is just me, and this may rub some Christians the wrong way. Some people I know may see this and be like, well, you know, how can you call yourself a Christian if you say this? It's hard for me to say that the Bible is the indisputable word of God, written by men. I have always felt that way. I feel like the Bible, and I've said this before, the Bible is a guide, but it is not the beginning and the end of your walk with God. The rest of that walk has to come with communication with God. The rest of that walk has to come with discernment, knowing what is from God and knowing what is not from God. The rest of that walk is a relationship. If you don't have the relationship, then nothing that you read in that book is going to make any kind of sense, because it's going to be academic. You know it academically, but you don't know it really for yourself. You don't know that truth for yourself and I say this really with any kind of form of knowledge. You don't know anything until you've experienced it, until it's shown up in your life, until it's shown up in your face. And that word, something you might have read in that word might actually come to life. Like, dang, I read that in Deuteronomy, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Well, I read that in Isaiah, or I read that in Song of Solomon. You know what I mean? Or I read that in Mark, or I read that in Luke, or I read that in Revelations. Whatever it might be. Until you see it happen in your life, you're just reading the words. And you're having faith that these words are going to somehow jump off the page and make sense. And that's where the relationship comes in. God is going to make it make sense. You know what I mean? But moving along, you know what I'm saying? Let me read some of these comments before I do move along. These some good comments. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. So let's see. The Real Queen Goddess says, "I'm open to all." And you know what's interesting about you saying that? I know quite a few people who take bits and pieces from each religion to really kind of sort of be their guiding light, because there are bits and pieces of each religion that really make sense for life. They all intersect somehow. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? I think there's certain philosophical differences that make the religions different, clearly. But I think when it comes down to it, at the heart and soul of each of these religions, especially the ones that are for good, they're not too far apart from each other when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Lady C said, AJ the jump dropper. I appreciate that. Chris Mears said, you speaking real shit. I appreciate that. DJ Shane 202 said God meets everyone where they are at. Exactly. Joy says God just wants the glory. It's his gifts that he endowed us all with. Have to have faith, and it's a personal relationship. Thank you. And I'm so glad you said that, because God just wants the glory. It's his gifts that he endowed us all with. I am the person who will always say, like, I really try not to take too much credit for my talent whatsoever. I really can't take any credit for real. I did not give myself this talent. I might have had the interest, but I didn't give myself this talent. God gave me these talents. All of the talents that I've ever had throughout my life, especially when it comes to creativity, these are God-given. This couldn't have just come from me. When it comes to creating a song and it's like these incredible layered compositions, and I'm not even no great piano player like that, and people are like sitting in amazement like, man, how'd you do that? I'm like, God did that. God did that. Like, that wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? He moved through me, told me what to do, and I just was obedient to what he told me to do. I write the way that I write as a lyricist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people like stand in amazement. I'm like, God told me to write that. You know, like, it's very, I try to be very specific or very like discerning in what's from him and what's not from him. You know what I'm saying? So yes, that comment is like right spot on, especially in the scope of this project and really just the scope of who I am as an artist. So I definitely appreciate that comment right there. As she also said, ask God for clarity and understanding. There it is. DJ Shane said, faith without works is dead. Absolutely. There's no condemnation in God, therefore don't allow humans to condemn. That's it right there, sis. Definitely. Throw away Christianity. Let's speak on humanity. You'd have to explain that comment a little bit more, fam. Let's see. The real Queen Goddess said, I feel that God is within us as well without. That's why God never leaves your side, because God is everywhere. You just have to listen to your body. Yes, God moves through everything within us and around us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't avoid that connection. Those of us who believe, now there's a lot of people who don't believe in God, that don't believe that there's a God. I don't personally understand that. I can't relate to that. But at the same time, I'm not going to shake my finger at those who don't believe in God either. Just don't knock those of us who do believe. That's all I say. You know what I mean? Shout out to my man ADST on the check-in. Appreciate you for tuning in, my brother. As DJ Shane also says, everything has to move in love. Absolutely. Everything has to move in love. God is love. So everything has to move in God, essentially. And by his order and by his will and by his steps, and us allowing him to order our steps. You know what I mean? So, but then we get to some of the most critical lines, two of the most critical lines of the whole song. The younger version of me unveiled a thesis. Asked baby boy to spell out your name. He spelled it Jesus. I'm going to say them lines again. The younger version of me unveiled a thesis. Asked baby boy to spell out your name. He spelled it Jesus. I want y'all to sit with that for a second. Oh, I got my 10,000 steps. That's y'all gotta never mind me. Like my watch be buzzing sometimes. You know what I mean? And okay, bro. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? If you can, check the replay. Check what I say from here. And appreciate that. DJ Saint said deep bar, bro. Appreciate that. So that bar is deep because I want y'all to understand my son. At the time, so I'll say it one more time for the real Queen Goddess. The younger version of me unveiled a thesis. Asked baby boy to spell out your name. He spelled it Jesus. I told him to spell God. That's what I told him to spell. Because, this is at the phase like he's like 2 going on 3. Listen to that. He's 2 going on 3. And I never forget because it was right before we had to go somewhere in Philly. Actually, we had to go to a recital for my nieces, and I never forget. I think we was in his room. We might have been on our way to leave for Philly, and I just happened to be talking. And I was like, "How do you spell God?" Because we were just spelling things. I was like, "How do you spell God?" He was like, Jesus. I was like, "What?" I just had to stand back in awe and that's why right after I say, ask baby boy to spell out your name, he spelled it Jesus, and we ain't have to teach him. We didn't teach him that. We didn't tell him that. We never said that to him. And it's like, in that moment, now, I feel like there's an aha moment for everybody who believes whatever they believe. I've had plenty of aha moments before that. That was my confirmation. That's all I needed right there. I was like, bruh. I'm like, like I respect any other religion, you know what I'm saying? I respect any other way of life. But for me, it's that whole, I think it's Joshua, I think it's 24, it might be verse 15, or I might be flipping around, might be 15:24. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. You know what I'm saying? It was that verse, that chapter, that verse for me. As for me and my house, we Christians over here, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because my man just spelled God, Jesus, and we never said that to him. We never taught him that. He had only been to church maybe a few times, a handful of times up to that point in his life. And he knew that. I was like, now why am I doubting? Why am I questioning? If he is as certain as the sky is blue, and that there are 24 hours in a day, even though time is a man-made concept, don't get me started on that. But as sure as you can open your eyes and you can see trees outside, you can see a blue sky, you can see a sun in the sky, he was as sure that God and Jesus are the same, that they are one and the same. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should stop running. Like, what have I been running from all this time? You know what I mean? Like, God is speaking through my only child, who is not even really old enough to grasp that concept. Heck, he doesn't even remember that. He doesn't remember saying that. 2, 3 years old. You know what I mean? Like, he's literally like maybe 3 months away from being 3 years old. That's the amazement. Like, it'd be one thing if he's 8 and he says that. But he was 2. And I'm like, what am I questioning? What am I running from? It's just me going back to the line before that. Or maybe I'm complicating it purposely, because the fate you created, I face it nervously. I understand the responsibility and the charge that's on my life. And yet, I'm sitting here doing all of these things to get in my own way. I'm sitting here questioning all of these different things. I'm sitting here frustrated. I'm sitting here in a car at 1 something in the morning in the CVS parking lot, crying my eyes out, screaming at the top of my lungs, just angry, angry, angry. But none of that was speaking in love. None of that was tapping into love. And this little boy, and the thing about it is, it goes back to the conversation about Jason's lyric, because it's easy to look at his name twice. The Lord is our salvation, and healer is in his name. So through my son, I'm being saved all over again. Through my son. See, because I talked about it from the perspective of physical healing when it came to Jason's lyric. But spiritual healing, how about we had that conversation? Through my son, he helped us heal me spiritually in that moment. To look at it differently, like, you know what? You've been complicating this whole situation. It's real simple. Your relationship with God is real simple. I go back to what my sis Leilani said, and I wish Leilani was in on the check-in. And shout out to my sis A-Rise on the check-in. Appreciate you for tuning in, Queen. Finishing this breakdown up of Nowhere from the Late Bloomer 2 EP. I go back to something my sister Leilani said about how a lot of times when we communicate with God or we have a relationship with God, we complicate it. And it's real simple. Just talk. Just talk to God. Just have a conversation with God. It could be something real simple. You talk to God like he's one of your homies. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I mean, who's a better friend than God when it comes down to it? Or whoever you believe in, who's a better friend than that? Because when it comes down to it, God ain't gonna let you down. People will let you down, but God won't. And even when people let you down, they're people. You're gonna let somebody down. You're people. But at the end of the day, what do you believe? What's your guiding principles? What really keeps you grounded? Exactly. Build a strong connection with God, the real Queen Goddess. Thank you for saying that. Build a strong connection with God. And it's real simple to build that connection. It doesn't have to be this elaborate production that some people make it seem like it has to be. It doesn't. Just take the step. Establish the relationship. That's the most important thing. Your people, exactly, your people. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, none of us are perfect, you know, but God is made perfect through our weakness. That's how he becomes stronger, through our weakness. And then we derive our strength from God, from us saying, God, I need you. I can't do this on my own. I've tried to do this on my own. It doesn't work. Because again, nothing works when you try to do it by yourself. Try it. Try to do anything. Try to put out an album. My artists out here. Try to put out an album by yourself. Try to do literally everything by yourself and see how well it works for you. For my people that's fitness buffs, try doing that without having somebody to hold you accountable. Taking it back to religion. Try walking in your faith without having somebody around you that's going to help to guide you, that's going to help to keep you grounded and to help you understand certain things that you may not be able to understand on your own. In school, are we successful just because we study well, or are we successful because of the people around us who may know a little bit more than we do, who may have certain answers that we don't have on our own? Nothing we can do is on our own. So why not lean on the Most High? Whatever you call him, whatever you call her. It's not even to say that, God is a man. Because, hey, there are a lot of people within Christianity who look at God the Father, God the Mother, God the Son. A lot of times we say the Holy Spirit, but a lot of folks look at it like God the Father, God the Mother, God the Son, because earth is just a replication of heaven. And how you gonna have a son without a mother? You know what I mean? But I don't want to get too deep on y'all today. You know what I mean? Shout out to my sis Melanin Official on the check-in on IG. Appreciate you for tuning in, Queen. Like I said, finishing up this breakdown on Nowhere. OG the Queen. I don't know if I shouted you out earlier. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. She said, I don't understand my phone, man. Look, I don't understand what I got going. I'm telling you, it's retrograde. It's like the end of retrograde is like going out like, look, I'm going out with a fight. I'm going to mess everything up because I can't even play my music on Facebook and YouTube right now. You know what I mean? Shout out to Snow Gotti 19 on the check-in on IG as well. I absolutely am loving the amount of love and support that people are showing on Instagram tonight. Y'all have really come through and I'm so appreciative of it. And you know what I'm saying? I hope that y'all really got something out of this conversation because I don't want to keep rambling on saying the same things over and over and over again. But this is a very important song to me because my spirituality is the most important thing in my life. And there have been too many times in my life where I haven't invested enough energy into it. And I know a lot of people out there can relate to that. We invest so much into so many different things. We invest so much into our health. We invest so much into our finances. We invest so much into our families. We invest so much into our jobs. But what are we investing? How much are we investing into our spirituality? Into making sure we are grounded in that way? Because if we're not grounded in that way, all of the other things that we want to do in our lives are going to just fall apart completely if you don't have that balance, if you don't have that base. And again, it doesn't matter what religion you believe in, who you call God, what you call God, whatever. But as long as you have that connection, you good. You good. You know what I mean? But it's about not being afraid to establish that connection. And a huge amount of the Late Bloomer series is talking about how I get past certain fears. And I still, like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I got it all figured out. I don't. But the key thing is I'm making the effort to do so. And that's the biggest thing. What are the intentions of your heart? What are the intentions of your mind, your soul, your body? What do you intend to do, and how are you going to actually achieve those intentions and make them real? Because you can intend all you want, but you actually have to put in the work. Like my man Shane said earlier, faith without works is dead. You got to put in the work on top of that faith. And we're going to leave it there. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you do not have The Late Bloomer 2, which features this single well, it's not a single, it's kind of a street single, but this song that I'm talking about, which is track number 3 on the EP, Nowhere, please make sure that you check it out. It's on all streaming platforms. The only one that is not on it is Spotify, but everywhere else you can find it. Just look up AJ Throwback. That's A.J. Throwback, The Late Bloomer 2, and you'll pull it up. Or you can go to my website. You can buy it straight out, BAMMLLC.net/music. Once again, that's BAMMLLC.net/music. Absolutely, the real Queen Goddess who says the work backs up the faith. Absolutely. And I appreciate that. My man Elville, the producer, said dope album. I definitely appreciate that, my brother. And yes, you can also get the EP on my Bandcamp page. If you want 4, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to count them for my people on Facebook and YouTube. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bonus tracks that you're not going to get anywhere else, not even on my website. You can get the expanded edition of The Late Bloomer 2 on my Bandcamp page, ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. Once again, that's ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. Also, if y'all are feeling, y'all know I got merch, and y'all know I'm wearing my merch because, gotta do a little bit of promotion, a little self-plugging, shameless plugging, and all that good stuff. If you like the merch that you see on me right now, both of these on the website, the hat, the shirt. This is starting to become one of the most popular shirts. Student of Life for Life. Starting to become one of the most popular ones. Definitely make sure that y'all go to my website. Once again, that's BAMMLLC.net/shop batch. Once again, BAMMLLC.net/shop batch. Tomorrow, this is the plan. Tomorrow, I'm about to unveil some fall stuff. I'm about to have some long sleeve shirts, some hoodies, some beanies, some sweatpants, all that good stuff. About to put that stuff up on the website tomorrow, so definitely make sure that y'all tap in for that. If y'all are not following the batch page, make sure that y'all go to Facebook, Instagram. It is batch.202. Once again, that's batch.202. And if you're not already following me on social media, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at AJ Throwback, on Instagram and TikTok, that is A.J. Throwback. And for my YouTube people, make sure that y'all follow me at AJ Throwback 928. And if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell notification so whenever I go live, post a new video, premiere a new video, you'll be among the first to know. All right, so next week we'll be getting into a new song. This will be track number 4 from my EP, which is called Independence Avenue. Definitely looking forward to breaking down that song. For those of y'all who've been rocking with me since my bars days, that was the theme song to the Independence Avenue Drive-In 5, which was a show that I had. It was a mixed show, Rush Hour, that featured songs from nothing but independent artists. You know, you got all these mixed shows that, like, you know, they feature all the same artists or whatever. My mixed show was specifically geared toward the independent artists. This was the theme song for that show. Really, this song really inspired the show. So, yeah, that just goes to show you how important this song is and how excited I am to talk about it. Once again, that's going to be Independence Avenue, which is track number 4 on the EP. So definitely make sure that y'all tune in for that. Shout out to my sis, Dior Ashley Brown, on a check-in. Definitely appreciate you for tapping in, my sister. Also, and I'm glad I got a whole bunch of DMV folks in here right now. Cannot leave without announcing this. This Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is only going to be on YouTube right now. We are going to be, me and Ray Gideon Peoples, we're going to be starting the premiere of the Return to Black Broadway podcast. So for those of y'all who are unfamiliar with, like, the DMV, those of y'all who are outside the DMV, Black Broadway really kind of sort of covered like a stretch of U Street Northwest, where there was a lot of like black artistry that happened. I mean, the who's who back in the day, and even moving up to like the 90s, the 2000s, like all of this greatness that just existed on U Street, because there was a resurgence on U Street at that time. So it's kind of sort of in reference to that, but it's a project that's really just celebrating what makes DC great and what makes DC artists great. So Gideon Peoples and I, we're going to be doing this podcast every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. And that's going to be on the Return to, the number 2 Black Broadway YouTube channel. So make sure that y'all tune in for that. I will be posting stuff within the next day. Also, going to be making sure that we share the feed once it becomes available and everything. We got several artists right now on Instagram who are a part of this project. Lady C is a part of this project. I know Dr. Ash Brown, I know that you said you were going to be part of it too. Definitely looking forward to you being a part of this project. I think that might be all for now that's actually in here. But I mean, when I say it's a who's who of like the best and the brightest artists in the DMV, man, it's so many people that's involved in this project. And I mean, hopefully we get some more folks involved in it. So we're going to be talking, the first episode is really going to be talking about really how the project came to be, and really how we feel about like the music so far. Also, yes, so D.O. Ashley Brown confirmed she is on the project. It would not be a DMV project. It would not be a Return to Black Broadway project without my sis, D.O. Ashley Brown. So I'm glad that you are part of this. Absolutely. And I also want to make sure that I shout out my sis. She is actually the founder, CEO of the DC Music Summit, a nonprofit that really helps DC DMV artists kind of sort of get a bigger leg up in the game, especially those of us who are independent artists. The DC Music Summit will be happening October 14th. I want to say that is a Friday. I want to say Friday, October 14th to Sunday, October 16th. And if I'm not mistaken, is it at Duke Ellington School of the Arts? Let me know. I would love to be involved. I would absolutely love to be involved. Yes, it is. So it will be at Duke Ellington School of the Arts. For many people, like Dr. Ashley Brown, like my man Ray Gideon Peoples, they are alumni of that school. So Duke Ellington School of the Arts, I feel like I know the address. Is it 3500 R Street Northwest, sis? I think. And how I know that address, I don't know if I'm right. And shout out to my main man, Coop DeVille, on the check-in. Appreciate you for tuning in, bro. Yes. Okay. So, yes. So, Once again, the DC Music Summit will be taking place Friday, October 14th to Sunday, October 16th. Duke Ellington School of the Arts, 3500 R Street Northwest. For more information, make sure that y'all go follow DC Music Summit on Instagram. That's at DC Music Summit, just like it sounds, to get all of your information. Every one of my DMV artists that is looking for a little bit more, like maybe even just a bigger network. You just want to expand beyond the network that you're familiar with. Come to the DC Music Summit. I guarantee it's going to be a great occasion. It's going to be a great time, and it's going to be a great networking event for you to really just raise your artistry even more and learn learn a little bit more than what you even think that you know. So shout out to my sis Dior Ashley Brown, you know what I'm saying, for definitely putting this on every year. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just appreciate everybody for tapping in and tuning in. Lots of love tonight. I definitely appreciate everybody. I feel like I saw a comment back a little while ago from the Real Queen Goddess. She said, I'm new here, I'm going to check it out. And then she also said, I feel like she said, I will tune in. Yeah, so everybody who's new to it. So, okay, so the link for the DC Music Summit is dcmusicsummit.org. Once again, that's dcmusicsummit.org. I'm gonna go ahead and pin that on Instagram so y'all can see that. So for more information, definitely make sure that y'all visit the site so y'all can get more information on not only what they do for the specific summit, but this is year round the things that they do. They have things going all year round that really help out artists here in the DC DMV area. So definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shout out to my sis Jamar on the check-in on Instagram. Appreciate you for tapping in. About to wrap up. But for anybody who missed this entire broadcast, this will be available on Facebook. This will be available on YouTube, on my Facebook and my YouTube, which is AJ Throwback on Facebook, AJ Throwback 928 on YouTube. But it's going to be a better version on Instagram. Instagram got the good today. So it will definitely, I'll make sure that I post a replay here on Instagram once again. And shout out to the Bad Influencer 1984 on the check-in on Instagram. Nay Ray. Oh, and shout out to my sis Nay Ray 001 on the check-in, said, hello King, just got in and missed it. Will you repost? Yes, I definitely will repost. I'm gonna repost it. Actually, I'm gonna repost it tomorrow during kind of sort of my rush hour so people can catch it. I might repost it tonight. Hey, why not? But anyway, thank you so much for all of the feedback, for everybody tuning in. My man Coop DeVille said, we definitely appreciate you, bro, working on my NFT album. Oh, we got an NFT up. See, this is the dude, my man Coop DeVille 2000 on Instagram. If you want to know anything about crypto, NFTs, I'm pretty sure you know plenty about blockchain, all of that. This is the man to talk to. Coop. And I'm gonna put his information out there. Coop DeVille. So Coop, COOP D, the letter D, VILLE 2000. He also has another page. I think it's DCS Crypto. Follow that man. When it comes to the technology like that, he is ahead of the game. So I got a lot to learn from him myself. So I'm all about shouting out my folks. You know what I mean? So thank you so much, Anonymous Touch, for that, and thank everybody. Thank you, Lady Crawley. Thank you, Lady C. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. I don't want to, I don't want to leave anybody else. So many folks tuned in tonight. If you tuned in here on Instagram, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all for riding with me this time. This went a little longer than I wanted it to, but hey, when we having a good time, we having a good conversation. That's just how it rolls, you know what I mean? So once again, I appreciate everybody for spending your Sunday night with me. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Once again, next week, we'll be breaking down track number 4 from the Late Bloomer 2, Independence Avenue. And yeah, if you haven't heard it, get ahead of the game, listen to the project, so you're not just completely out the water, like, I don't know none of these bars. If you listen to the project beforehand, you'll know the bars, or you'll be familiar with the bars. So get familiar so that, you're not lost in the sauce next week. But anyway, I've been your host, AJ Throwback, for The Maximum Sentence, where there's conviction behind the bars. And until next week, I want y'all to enjoy the rest of y'all week. Make sure that you enjoy your weekend when it comes up. And I will see y'all right back here next Sunday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube, and of course on Instagram. Y'all have a great night, and y'all be easy. Peace.